As the scene cuts back to the Swan Lake's secret realm, tens of thousands of warriors had already formed an iron formation immediately after entering the mysterious rift with the color of the starry sky. 60% of An City's military and high-level warriors above the level of martial artists had all entered the secret realm. They were named the Vanguard Troops and have only one mission. That is to gather intel about the Beast Tide and to try to find out the strength and abilities of the powerful Lord-level monsters, or even the Overlord-level monsters. Then, make it out alive to report back. Staring at the horrific tide with bated breath, these brave warriors, which to be honest are merely cannon fodders, charged forward aggressively. Their battle roar and wails gathered together to play a cruel and bloody symphony of war that shook the mountains and forests. Meanwhile, at the entrance, a temporary military defense line has been established with tanks, anti-aircraft guns, and countless Gatling guns and large-caliber machine guns forming a steel formation. Any monster that steps out of the secret realm will be overwhelmed by countless bullets and artillery fire. The size of the spatial rift was limited, which meant the number of monsters that can pass through would also be greatly limited, thereby eliminating the advantage of the Beast Tide which was in play. As long as they hold the line at the entrance of the spatial rift of Swan Lake, which was the last checkpoint for the monsters to enter the human world, and City's capability of withstanding this disaster would not be impossible. This was what Mayor Huang was banging his hopes on when his serious gaze suddenly shot up in surprise. And not just him. Everyone was astonished to see a warrior with a broken arm and covered in blood stumbled out of the rift in the secret realm. The moment the guy got out of the rift, he drops to the ground helplessly like a bag of sand, desperately calling for Mayor Huang. A medical staff and Mayor Huang quickly rushed over. But at this point, it's obvious the guy was at death's door. He raised his trembling hand towards Mayor Huang, and in it was a USB flash drive containing all the results of the Vanguard troops' battle. Mayor Huang asked anxiously where the others were. Upon hearing this, the warrior's dirty, blood-stained face wrinkled into a ball, like a ravaged chrysanthemum. He announced that they were dead. Everyone was dead. The Beast Tide crushed everything to pieces. Not even the corpses could be brought back. As the warrior spoke, his eyes suddenly widened again, with unconcealable fear and hatred in his eyes as he recalls the brutal encounter. He advised Mayor Huang to be careful of that blood-eyed black ape. It has plotted and set them up. Otherwise, at least a few thousand of them would have made it out alive. Just as Mayor Huang was asking for specific details, a loud noise suddenly occurred from the other side of the rift. Then a huge stone cone flew out in a rotation, piercing through a building in the distance. Without stopping, more stone cones flew out. The fortifications that were built with great difficulty at the entrance to the secret realm were destroyed, and countless buried mines were also detonated by the stone cones. Several deafening and destructive explosions sounded in perfect unison, and it became apparent that the Beast Tide was trying to blow up the unfinished defensive structures. A dreading realization flashed in Mayor Huang's eyes when he noticed that the enemy's first target was the landmines beneath the defensive structures, and the attack obviously came from the secret realm. It seems these monsters want to disrupt every trap before coming out of the rift. Cursing, Mayor Huang loudly issued the order to fire towards the spatial rift in the secret realm. The tanks and anti-aircraft guns in the rear opened fire, and the flames that shot up into the sky submerged the rift in the secret realm, while the stone cone attacks on that side never stopped. Mayor Huang's expression was solemn. Instead of sending out the beasts, these monsters use long-range attacks to consume their strength first. Since when do monsters use military tactics like humans? At this moment, the words of the dead warrior echoed in his ears. The Overlord-level magical beast had indeed plotted against them, otherwise at least a few thousand of Vanguard troops would have gotten out alive. Huang Qing clenched his fists. Damn them all! Damn that blood-eyed black ape beast! Another round of stone spikes broke through the artillery encirclement and flew over with the air wave. The tank troops in the rear were prepared in advance and moved away, allowing the stone spike to hit the ground. A soldier who was on defense suddenly heard some strange sounds coming from the stone cone fragments behind him. A giant rat with membranous wings suddenly emerged from the rubble and bit off the soldier's head. This cruel and bizarre scene was played out in countless places on the battlefield. The stone cones were actually used as projection cabins for warcraft. They flew out of the cracks in the secret realm through the stone cones and were directly dropped to the rear of the battlefield to cause destruction. Mayor Huang warned everyone to be careful. The enemy's attacks were strategic and should be intercepted before they land. Damn it! Don't let those stone spikes fall. Stop them immediately. The missiles began to intercept the stone cones, but this resulted in a decrease in the firepower attacking the secret realm. The tank troops fell into a brief chaos, and the warrior troops began to provide support, but the monsters had no desire to fight. They quickly hid and fled, focusing on destroying various military equipment, causing the gunpowder network surrounding the cracks in the secret realm to be sharply reduced. In the secret realm, the blood-red pupils of the black ape revealed a very cunning human-like expression. In a condescending demeanor, this ugly fucker knew time was almost up and relish every second of it. In a few moments, the humans would no longer be able to resist his beast tide. So, in a commanding tone, it ordered its soldiers to flatten the humans and their piece of land until there was nothing left standing. A white-haired giant gorilla king of lord level, with the size of a small building, rushed out first, and the group of beasts behind it followed closely, all charging towards the rift in the secret realm. A bone-chilling roar resounded through the sky, and the white-haired giant gorilla king, together with an overwhelming magical beasts, rushed out despite the bombardment of several shells, pounded his ground with his fists, and howled to the sky. With the white-haired giant ape king attracting firepower, the large number of magical beasts took advantage of this fact, quickly drilled out of the rift in the secret realm, and fled in all directions. Meanwhile, on the rooftop of a tall building, he looked at the battlefield below and realized that humans were beginning to lose control of the situation. After today, he wondered what will become of N City. He looked at the once prosperous city and sighed. Although he had only traveled here for a few months, he had grown fond of N City and would not allow a bunch of fucking monsters to destroy the good life he fought to build. Without thinking anymore, he roared and jumped directly from the tall building, running vertically downwards with his feet on the wall of the building. While running, tough dark skin appeared over his body as he decisively charged into the battlefield in Demora's form. And with that, the scene shifted to elsewhere within the city. Luo Xian activated his Thunder Kick martial arts and kicked a monster in the abdomen, cracking it. Its eyeballs were even squeezed out by the impact. Another warrior praised Luo Xian for taking 5 beasts down already. He then took the opportunity to rush forward and dig open the monster's body, taking out the magic core to prevent it from healing itself. Luo Xian couldn't help but smile as he waved off the praise. The next moment, a hideous head of a beast was thrown in front of Luo Xian. Then a petite figure walked over, placed a foot on the monster's severed head and teased Luo Xian for showing off after just killing low-level monsters. The petite figure was none other than Kai Shaoling. She continued her teasing session with a smile, adding that if Luo Xian was seriously calling himself the number 1 in An City's third high, then he was a joke. Luo Xian wanted to refute her, but also knew he probably couldn't beat her if it comes down to it. So in order not to embarrass himself, he could only be angry for a while. Suddenly, everyone felt the temperature drop sharply, and even white frost appeared on the ground. A lonely and cold young man with impeccable styled hair despite his battles walked over. Kai Shaoling was horrified when she saw the blue magic core in Chu Zhou's hand. He actually killed a third-tier beast alone. And what's even surprising was his presence. Kai Shaoling didn't expect to see Chu Zhou on the battlefield. He didn't choose to evacuate. Chu Zhou did not answer the question about killing a third-level monster alone. He felt ashamed of showing off such an achievement, especially since this achievement meant nothing when compared with Yi's. Chu Zhou answered in a nonchalant manner, as if he didn't take death seriously at all. Their parents were warriors, and they were on the battlefield fighting against the beast tide. So as their children, how could they run? But just as the three were having a brief conversation, Luo Xian, with a slight trembling of his fingers still revealing his nervousness and shock, pointed towards something in the sky and told the rest to watch out. Chu Zhou suddenly looked up at the sky and saw a tank falling from the sky.